Hi, it's Andy again, and I have my last tutorial on the design support library, and this one's going to be on coordinator layouts. I hate saying that, but it's actually very easy to use, and a lot of the stuff is automatic when you use it as your primary layout. In this example here on the right, we have the coordinator layout tab open, and what we have is a recycler view and a fab button that's stuck in the bottom right hand corner. Now you can't see that right now, but when we drag up, there's the fab button. And when we click on anything here, the fab button automatically moves up so that it's still clickable, or still visible the whole time. It's actually not clickable because I don't actually have this attached to anything. But another thing that the coordinator layout gives you an opportunity to do is when you're scrolling on a compatible view. So there's a few compatible views, which would be scroll view, nested scroll view, recycler view. A few of the ones that are not compatible with this type of behavior would be like a frame layout, list view. So if you have a list view and you want to do something like this, you're going to have to build a recycler view instead and rewrite your code for that adapter. I'm going to show you a real easy adapter in this example, so it's not going to be that difficult to set up, and it's probably very similar to something you've set up for in a regular list adapter. Alright, so let's get on with the code. Actually, there's really none for coordinator layout other than making sure that it's your primary view. And to be honest, this is actually a coordinator layout inside of a coordinator layout. This whole parent view here is a coordinator layout. However, to get this type of interaction between the siblings only happens if you have it inside that fragments layout. So if I were to remove this layout here and make it frame layout or something like that, this doesn't work. Also, like I said, the frame layouts don't support the scrolling. So technically, there's actually a fab button down below here that I have to actually drag this bar up from the actual bar. Let's go to here. Like and it stopped scrolling. But if I go here on the actual recycler view, you can actually scroll on the recycler view and drag it up. That's because it's a compatible view that supports this scrolling mode. And to actually get that scrolling behavior, you actually have to enable this string right here, app layout behavior, which is kind of a thing from it's one of the child interactions that coordinator layout handles. Is this layout behavior, and you just input this string here, app bar scrolling view behavior, and that allows you to scroll with the app bar. So the app bar will move with you automatically. You don't have to write any other code to get that nifty little animation there. Few other things in our main activity. Tab layout is where I wanted to go. So again, all these things that I had put in here, the scroll flags, this is actually all part of coordinator layout. So you have to add these, and that's why they have the namespace of app. They actually, these specific ones, layout scroll flags and layout collapse mode, they go directly with coordinator layout, and coordinator layout knows what to do with those child views when you scroll the screen up. So that's how it knows that when I scroll up on this is going to get smaller, and the view in the background is actually going to parallax automatically, just with simple one-liners inside of our parent view. Okay, so let's set up our recycler view, since It's actually very easy to do, and you can make them very complex as well. That's kind of the nice thing about RecyclerView is that in order to use it, you have to use best practices, which would be using a view holder to set up your views in, so that like each line on here, as you can see when I click on it, it's kind of highlighting. Each line would be a view that the view holder is pre-caching into space. So above here, above the donut, is cupcake. That's off the screen, and it's technically pre-caching that, and it's also pre-caching marshmallow. So when you scroll, you get a nice smooth transition between the views. Now, with this simple of a data with just text, list view, you're not going to see any kind of difference in performance. What you will see a difference would be like a lot of items. So let's say you had a list with like hundreds of items, and then each item on the list had some kind of media, so like a picture or an icon or something like that on each list item. That would be better performance on a recycler view versus a list view. So there's a good reason to use recycler view over list view, and now they've bundled it in with coordinator layout, so you get this nice little animation on supported views. Like I said earlier, the supported views would be something intended to scroll. Also, make sure that you get the right recycler view. So when you go into your build Gradle, you actually have to import the recycler view from the support library. The one that's built in does not work. So with that, it hasn't been updated. So get the recycler view from the support library. That's very important to get this animation. You'll be wondering why it's not working, why it's acting like a list view. Okay, so let's it's actually very simple. We've initialized our recycler view in our onCreate, and then we're going to set it up. So to set it up, we need to make our adapter and specify a layout manager. So just do a linear layout manager where we get the context of the actual recycler view, and then pass that in there. So these are all pretty standard to set up the recycler view and your initialization. And then we're going to set up our adapter. So our adapter is actually this class right here, and it's actually very, I know it looks kind of long, but it's actually very easy to set up. It consists of 3 mandatory methods to override, and then also need to put in a view holder. So our recycler view adapter, it extends RecyclerView.Adapter, and then we also want to make sure we put in our view holder in here. So we have to put in our view holder. If you had a generic view holder elsewhere, you'd put that class in here first, or just view holder. But our class of view holder is inside of here. So we want to reference this view holder, which also has mandatory initialization here. This is a mandatory class that we need to do in there. So once you put in your extends the recycler view adapter, it's going to tell you need to put in these 3 or this method. Or no, actually, no, it's not mandatory. So the override methods here are onCreateView Holder, onBindView Holder, and getItemCount. So your adapter is going to want to know how many items are inside your list. Then you're also going to have to pass in your view holder here, like create your view holder, and then onBindView Holder is going to fill in your view holder with the information from the list. So it's actually pretty simple to set up. First, let's set up our view holder. So we have our class view holder, which extends RecyclerView.ViewHolder, and we're just going to display a string, so we're just going to say that the string is mbound string. Actually, this actually probably isn't really necessary. Yeah, I don't really think this string is actually necessary. Where is it used? Oh, okay. So, yeah, I'm not sure this actually is necessary because we're going to be setting our let's get rid of this so I don't make it confusing. We'll get rid of our mbound string because that's not necessary. Okay, so we don't need this type value either. Oops. Let's make this as simple as possible. Alright, so we can get rid of our background. I did pull this from an example, so that's why there is some code that's not necessary. Okay, and then we don't really need the context here, but we'll leave it in. If we needed to actually get context for something, so you'd want to leave this in there if you want to open up a new class from your on item click listener. You'd actually want to put in here private context and context, and then in here put in mContext equals context. So then in our on-click listener, we would actually, in order for you to start a new intent, you need the context. So that's where you would pass in mContext to get something. But in this view, we're just inflating a snack bar so that I can show you that when you click the snack bar, the floating action button, the fab, moves up. So let's get back to our view holder. So our mView is actually the entire view. So when I click here, this entire area that's highlighting when I select Cupcake is the mView. And then our text view is our embedded text view inside of our view. So we need to then initialize our two views. So the parent view is going to get initialized here, and then our text view is going to get initialized here. So our text view is we cast a text view, say view.findView by ID, and we're going to pass in our ID. Now the ID for this one is just android.r.text1 because our actual view that we're inflating is just a simple list item one, and it's an Android standardized view that you can use for lists. That's very easy. That has just one text view, and that text view ID is text1, and it's important to put the Android in front of it because it's not something we have to build at all. It's telling the system that that's a system text view ID. All right. And we don't actually need to use this method at all. So we can get rid of that. So it's very simple. There's not much to the view holder class. All we do is we set up our views and then initialize them here into the view holder. So then we need to then in our adapter, our adapter, we need to take a look at our three methods that we are overriding, which are here. So we need to know how many items to put in. So our list items here are m values, which is up here, which is our data that we're passing in. So string items, we're going to pass in our list into the adapter, and we're going to access them here. So our the amount of items into our array, actually this is an array because we're using list, and we're specifying that it's a string array here. Length is how many items. Now we could also do a list if we wanted to, and that would change this to .size, and then that will calculate how many items to do. Doesn't matter, they're both integers, and either one is acceptable here. Doesn't matter if you use an array or if you use a list. But you need to pass in how many items you're going to use. So depending on if you're using an array, which you would do .length, or a list, which you would do .size. Okay, so that is our get item count. Here, if you want to make it a little bit easier to view, we'll do that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is our OnCreateView Holder. This is one we need to actually, it's our specifying our view holder basically. Our view is, we're going to use a layout inflator. We need to do from and then get the context, and then we're going to inflate our view. And our view, as I mentioned earlier, is a simple list item 1 view. Put in a parent and false. This looks very familiar. It's exactly how you would inflate a fragment. Basically, this is the same idea here. It's a layout inflator. In your OnCreateView method in a fragment, you'd have this same exact code here, except this would be view. Then we need to then return our view holder with our view inside of it. And last but not least, we need to actually tell our list what to actually put in there. So this is going to take in our holder, our view holder, which is created from here, and then it's also going to then take in a position because we need to know what to put at each individual position here. So we're going to call holder, which is here, then our text view, and then we need to actually put in what our item is. So we're going to do set text, and that's going to grab the value, the item at position inside of our array, our m values array. So that's going to be the text that we're going to put in there. And then if you wanted to have an on-click listener for all of this, this is probably about the easiest implementation that you can do. I've seen others, but this is super easy. Just grab your m view that we specified here. There's a reason why you would do that. Give it an on-click listener, and then on the inside we're going to do our on-click method. We're going to do a little SnackBar, and then we're going to do call get value at, which is this little method that we created here, which returns a string from the array. So we're going to get value at position, which is going to give us our item. So this is going to give us gingerbread down here, and display that in the text. And this is our length, which is short. You can do long or indefinite. Indefinite, you'll need some kind of way to shut it off. So don't do indefinite unless you know you're going to put a little button inside of your snack bar, which you can totally do, which is the whole advantage of a snack bar over a toast, is that you can actually put an item in there. Okay, let's get back. All right, and then you need to call show, which is the same as a toast. All right, so now we have our adapter, and we're going to set our adapter, and we're going to use this version model data. So if you go into version model, we have our string array data here that I've called. So this is what corresponds to here. Cupcake, donut, eclair, froyo, gingerbread, honeycomb. So for each item in this array, we're creating a new item on the list. So that's where this is coming from. So here's our version model data. So that's our array that we're inputting into the adapter. You don't actually need. This is a setter. So this .name is equal to name. So that's a setter that we're using for this. But we actually don't really need it in this case because we just need to input the array. So if I were to actually delete this, you'd still be fine. So we'll get rid of that. And we'll get rid of this. All right, so that is coordinator layout. It's actually more of a RecyclerView and an on-item click listener layout. On-item click listener inside of the RecyclerView adapter tutorial. But to get this nifty animation, you need to use a coordinator layout. So I'm going to upload this into version control into GitHub, and I'm going to post this inside the link below. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good night.